Hello and welcome to the Irish Hunting Podcast, the no bullshit podcast for the outdoor enthusiasts. If you're into hunting, fishing, fine wines and even finer foods, you've come to the right place. So pull up a chair. How's it going, folks? And welcome back to the Irish Hunting Podcast. On this week's episode number 73, all the way from Utah in the United States, we have Kilkenny Man Paddy OBrien on. Paddy is going to tell us what it's like hunting in Utah. Everything from a bit of ice fishing to hunting bull elk, coyotes, you name it. So really interesting one. Hope you all enjoy it. So as ever, sit back, relax and enjoy. Andy Grogan, how are you getting on, man?
How are you, Brandy McGuire? What's happening?
I'm looking at your studio, man. That's an impressive studio you have down there.
It's the Wild Track studio, man. The Wild Track.
They truly are a universal all-around vehicle, aren't they?
I was just saying to I have a picture of it here. I said on to you before we came on air. You know, it's not all glitz and glam. This old podcasting crack. You know.
No, exactly, man. You could be sitting in more shows.
Yeah, you could. Yeah. I have my laptop propped up on a box and my water bottle, and the speaker resting on the laptop, connected to the hotspot on my phone. What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? Well, so what's the battery like on that laptop?
Yeah, she's good. We'll hurry along a little bit, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What's been happening, dude?
It's been quiet at my end, man, to be honest. You just mentioned before we come on, I'm trying to finalise the last couple of membership cards for the NARGC to get lads in and get insurance in. So that's kind of the last little thing, not the last little thing we have to do. We get these filled in, sent up, get our insurance cards back, and then we just want to put a couple of feeders up out and about, get ahead of the thing before we start releasing birds, which is not 100 miles away, really, when you think about it.
It is not, man. We're weeks. We're down to counting down days now rather than months. So it's getting close. And you put up a picture actually the other day, or sent me a video the other day actually of the birds, man. They're in great nick. Great.
They're in great nick now, but I suppose it's worth mentioning we were actually fucking fairly concerned there for a couple of weeks, man. So they had started to pick at each other. So yeah. I think I mentioned that in the last podcast. So we got the bits and we put the bits on them and all, and then we were grand. But then there was no life in them. Absolutely no life in a lot of them. Scary now. You'd walk over and push them. Do you know what I mean? And they wouldn't even move. And it wasn't. It was peculiar, man. The food was disappearing, but then, so one lad thought, he says maybe that the bits, we shouldn't have put that size of a bit in yet, and they weren't able to see the food. So one of the lads thought, well, I'll tell you what we'll do. He was after getting birds at the same time over in, I think, Summerhill or something. So he says, we'll go over, I'll get one of them and I'll measure the chest. I'll see what way the chest is. Do you know what I mean? See, are they putting on weight the same? And measured them and said, no, fairly happy enough now. They're not too bad. And just as we were there, you could hear a couple of them. You could hear, the sneeze or the cough. So anyway, healed the hunt. That's what they needed, man. They just need a good dose. And I won't fucking believe it, man. What's in it? Like overnight, absolutely flying it. I mean, so we put it in their food, kind of mix it through the food and wait until it was all gone. And then just top them up. And now, man, it's fucking grand. Plain sailing, food, water, and they're flying it.
They're in really good nick, man. It's beautiful and well done to you all. It's savage. It's exciting as well. Like obviously after all the hard work, it's hard to be in the mouth a little bit, thinking there's just not going to go to plan. And there's loads of things as we only know too well. What Shane O'Neill, as he said, all they want to do is die. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're very hard to keep alive. Until they reach a certain age, and then obviously there's another set of problems then. But please God, I'd look. You're out of the woods. Hopefully, as long as we can keep the no trouble with predators or any of that issue, Bren.
Not really, man. To be honest with you, now we've set traps and stuff for mink and stuff like that, which we haven't got that in yet. The boys are going hard because Murphy's only has to get himself a gorgeous new rifle, and McKeever, of course, is eager to get out with his. So the boys have been out a good bit. I done 1 or 2 nights, got a couple. Murphy got his first fox the other night. Uh,
Brilliant.
Funny though, the foxes, and I've seen video, are very small. So I don't know, was it there's a late batch? Would you be expecting to be like these are not much bigger than a cub now, which I thought is
Yeah.
unusual.
Funny, I've talking about foxes. Yanis actually sent me a picture of a fox he shot the other night, and it's the size of a small horse. It's just a huge dog fox.
Really?
Um, but yes, but it's interesting. I wonder what people are, because I've heard that a couple of times now throughout the year about cubs were late coming out or somewhere earlier coming. So it's a strange. It was a strange winter and summer this year. The summer hasn't been particularly warm, and I know it's warm now, but overall it hasn't been particularly warm, and then the winter hasn't been particularly cold. So
Oh,
I don't know. The thing is all kind of
it is. It's strange, man. It's strange. Just when you mention Giannis there, it's funny, man. Our bedroom in the house here. I'm a fucker. I'd always have to have the window open a little bit. You know what I mean? Because especially this time of year, I like a bit of fresh air coming in.
yeah.
It's so funny, man. I'm a fucker. I'd get into bed and I'd be on the phone rooting, looking at fucking shit. And um, uh, next thing, all you hear is the unmistakable crack of a 308 and straight
Yeah,
on the phone. Well, did you get him? And next thing, yeah, I got him. I get a picture of him. It's gas.
thumbs up. Yeah,
Yeah. Honestly, God, it's gas.
yeah,
But
yeah. He's just. I don't know. Man, he must be on closing on 70 now at this stage for the year.
yeah, so man, yeah, honest God. And he was saying it was very slow there for a while because
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I wasn't seeing any for a while, but they're starting to move again. It's funny. I seen that before, where you'd go hard at them and nail them and get a load of them, and then you could do 5, 6 nights in a row and not even see one, and you think grand, and then you give it a couple of weeks, man, and they're everywhere again.
yeah, yeah. It's just they're like the gift that just keeps on giving.
Yeah, honest to God, yeah. We're gonna have a very, very interesting interview with a man now shortly. I am very, very much looking forward to this. But before
Yeah, pretty.
before we get into that, you were out for did you get out the first day, first of August?
Yeah, we went out. I came up the evening before, and it was so weird. Like, well, it's not weird because I'm 42 years old, so I shouldn't be doing this, but I couldn't sleep, man. I was like, way, it's like the first of anything, and I didn't think I'd be excited, but I was excited just because I wanted to see what was out, what was moving. Do you know what I mean? And I wasn't putting huge pressure on, to get something or, because even I was tossing in my mind if they're in velvet, wouldn't I? And obviously then there is that debate going on, as we have spoken about, which we won't get into, but um, so yeah, I was like, look, if a nice prick could get up, you know what I mean? I'd like that one for the freezer and get the season off and so on. So anyway, yeah. Of course, first light was I think was 4:30, 20 to 5, I think, if I'm not mistaken, or 10 to 5 maybe. So yeah, we headed for the hills. I was over in Rob's, I think, for 20 past 3 or half 3 or something, early as usual.
Yeah.
Um, and so I got about the grand total about 2.5 hours sleep. Couldn't sleep, and then
Mm.
but what it was the heat, man. The heat that night. I don't know whether you remember that night. It was
Yeah.
real sticky, so you couldn't sleep properly anyway.
Yes.
And then we got up to where the field where hopefully you'll get up there this season now and have a little peep at it. But it's a kind of long, there's road frontage the whole way along it, and so we pulled into this little pull-in spot, and just to get out of the van, looked out, and you could see the light was just starting to break. I think we were there about 20 past 4, half 4 ish, and I just looked out, and I could see it wasn't moonlight but it was like dusky, and I said, "What is that just out there? It's like a shadow." I said, "It must be a cow or something." It was only like 20 yards from the roadside,
Yeah.
and so I just put up. I was taking the gun out of the back of the van. I just put up the scope, and sure enough, here was a doe, no calf or foot or anything. Just And I thought, "Oh, fuck's sake," because we had to get over the gate, and obviously then if we had spooked her,
Game
squeal
over.
game over before we even fucking start. So that meant we had to just go up a little bit, kind of sneak our way in, and then kind of we got we had the wind kind of on our cheek, you know what I mean? So it was coming over her, heading onto a side wind, you know, onto us. And we kept it that way. And we had to go an extra, I'd say, 3/4 of a mile up the hill. Um, and then we normally cut through a small little bit of a wood when it opens on the other side, and you're kind of shooting down into a bit of the valley. And for whatever reason, as we were approaching the wood, we were really quiet, obviously, because we were trying not to let her hear us. And I could hear something in the wood. And Rob just up the hand, and we both stopped. And he looked back at me, and he said, "You hear that? It's like just a little branch breaking, you know." And we were just about to cut through the wood. It's kind of it's not a wood. It would be an overstated term. But with that, then I just seen a little flicker in the gorse, and I said, "Fucking something in there," you know. So then we had to come back out of that one and come back up around. And as we were coming back up around, we looked back and we could see the doe making her way up. So it was obviously her calf was in the wood. So we left them and pushed on. There was a lovely hedge line up along with a little bit of a bank. So we kind of bear crawled up along that, got into position, and then, man, the midgets came out. I've never experienced this. And of course, my balaclava, I've stopped bringing my balaclava because with the glasses, they fog up. It fogs up my glasses. And of course, I wore the contact lenses for the first time hunting ever. And the midgets started to go into my eyes, man.
Oh, no way, man.
And just, you know, and with contacts, you can't really wipe because, you know, you're risk of dislodging.
Yeah.
Which I duly did. But you want to see, I should took a picture, man. We were alive, man. Rob actually sent me a picture when he got home, and he was like, it's like the elephant man, because he comes out with blisters in his face. But I had them from the butt cheeks up me back, me neck.
Bastards.
Oh man.
You never brought your smidge with you?
I fucking forgot because I came home late. I brought everything bar the smidge. Just it wasn't, you know, you weren't.
I know you weren't just prepared. I know.
But I will never ever make that mistake again.
No. There were, man, I was up, I think around the time you were there, I was up the bog one evening, foot and turf for my dad, and same story. I was absolutely et. And they're going around your beard and stuff as well, and I'll be the blue chest, man.
Oh, it was horrendous now. And like that, like it was just so uncomfortable because you're trying to, you know, to keep the sticks in your hand and the rifle ready to set up and so on. And then there was a little bit of a ravine, and there's another wood over the far side, and we were looking and we could see what I did notice about this time of the year. People would probably attest to it, especially in the Wicklow Hills anyway, and Bogland. The gorse is really high this time of the year, so you're very little chance. You can see it moving. Put up the scope, and you're waiting for something to appear. And we've seen 3-4 butts looking back at you, you know, tails. But you're waiting then to see all calves. And then with that, there was kind of like what we thought was like a little mini herd. And then behind it, like maybe 50, 60 yards, there was another kind of rustling. So we're keeping an eye on that. We said, oh, maybe there's a lone stag coming up. And so that started to break across the ravine, and we waited. And next thing, a doe came across, and I said, oh, geez, maybe that's going to cut through here. I said, I'll set up the gun and wait and see will a stag or a pricket or something coming out. And just that I was sitting down, and I had put my sticks down to get out my bipod, right? Because it was a little bit of a bank there. And I obviously rested them just on the edge of my boot, and it just rolled off, and it was the lightest little tip. Next thing, she squealed. So we didn't get to see what was coming on that side, but I did notice, and well, both of us, we heard it wasn't a full stag roar. So I don't know, has anyone ever heard? But it was like, I can't make the sound obviously, but it was like half of a stag call, if that makes sense. Just for say, it wasn't a fox. It wasn't. It was definitely a deer. And it definitely wasn't a female. So, but it gave out a bit of a a bleat out of him. So I'd be interested because a few Sika hunters on listen to the podcast. Have they heard something like that at this time of the year? It's obviously not calling. There's no roar or anything, but it was just a single kind of like a. I would love to be able to record it because you'd
Yeah.
play it back. But
Yeah.
yeah, so that was it. Then we kind of we stayed there for a while, then cut into another field, had a little peep at that, and then we knew then it was sure by 9:30, 10 o'clock, man. It was nearly 20 degrees,
Yeah. Man,
Do
that's
you know?
yeah, it's the fucking thing, man. Like if you were to get one at that stage, Jesus, man, you'd have flies on it like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the
And
fucking
then as we were coming home, then there's kind of like a bit of public ground that we always kind of just have a look in to see just for numbers and for interest with the binos and that. You can sit up and have a mug of tea and have a little look just to see what kind of numbers. And even like later on the year, at them very same spots, you'll see thousands of deer on the hillside. You're looking over maybe 2-3 kilometers.
yes.
But they were very, very sparse. You see kind of maybe two, three. Well,
Yeah.
and of course, obviously, the course is a huge part to play in that because they're in there. They're like built for that land. They
Yeah.
blend in so well up there. So,
They do, man, definitely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
uh,
even I think it kind of gets worse as the year progresses because they start to go and get their darker color, and then of course your gorse and all that brush starts to kind of die back, and you get an awful change in color. So yeah, they're built for it, man. That's why they're
yeah,
big numbers.
huge thing. Well, a huge congratulations. I don't know where you've seen. I listened to the podcast. Daryl got two reds, I think, yesterday, the day before. Um, he seen wasn't even going to bring the rifle. I was just chatting to him on Messenger today, actually, and he said I wasn't even going to bring the rifle. I threw it over my shoulder, and he says one popped out, and I shot it. And he said I actually thought I missed. And he said I seen him going up by, shot it again, walked after, left him at it. I think to just
Mm.
didn't pushed him, walked in after 30-40 minutes, and went in, and here was two reds.
No way, the Lord, yes. What's the chance of that?
Yeah. So
That's brilliant,
that's
man.
what I said to him. That makes up for all the times you go up there with the rifle trying to get a deer that you don't. So,
Yeah,
congratulations, two fine animals, absolutely fine animals. And then look, this is the thing. I know there's a huge debate going on. Should you, shouldn't you, all that kind of stuff.
hmm
These men are doing absolutely, they're fully entitled and within their legal rights. Whether or not um, the season should be is a completely different argument. So if people have an abundance of deer on certain lands that farmers want culled, then unfortunately that's not unfortunately, but that's the job that we have to do. So
Absolutely.
um
hmm
so uh,
Absolutely, no doubt. Yeah, we're doing what we're playing with the rule book, isn't that it? We're doing what?
that's it. Yeah, yeah. No more than that you can do. You can't slate a man for driving 120 on the motorway when
Speed
you can
limits.
drive 120 on the motorway.
Yeah,
So that's it.
exactly.
So
Absolutely. Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Well, look,
I,
it's
I
early doors. Yeah, it's good to get out all the same, I suppose.
yeah. Look, I'm not in a huge rush back out. If I'm being honest, Bren, with the weather,
Mhm.
very very warm, very clammy, and not that it just if you did happen to you're trying to salvage meat in
Mhm.
that kind of heat, and I said the flies and the midges.
Mhm.
I don't. They seem to love me, but I don't particularly fucking like them. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, to be honest.
I'd probably looking at maybe wait until September or that and
Yeah, yeah.
going at it then
Going out
from
there.
there on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 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 for sure, man.
Yourself, what have you any plans for the next couple of weeks or?
Not really, to be honest with you. I'm not same story. I'm not overly kind of like mega pushed at the minute. Not because I don't believe in it or any of that sort. Just with the weather and the way things are at the minute, and kind of I suppose time constraints. No, I'm happy enough now. Just hold off for a go. Now, if I take a canary in the morning to go for one, I'll go
Yeah,
for it.
absolutely. Yeah,
So, but we'll just play up here. So no mad rush to go just yet. So we'll just have to
yeah.
play up here and stuff and see.
Play
See.
it by ear. Play it by ear.
Absolutely,
Little
absolutely.
build up to the man we're just about to bring on. I think Mr. Paddy OBrien. We're delighted to have him on. This is something slightly different. I think we're having one of our own who's probably living a lot of hunters' dreams in the sense that he's over at the foothills of the Rockies and he set
Yeah.
up a home over there and has continued hunting and fishing, and some really cool. So can't wait to have him on.
Can't wait to have one. Absolutely. Yeah, this will be good. This will be an interesting one. Yeah. Seems like a very, very interesting bloke. And he's living the dream. You know, we are sitting here dreaming about, hunting. That's his everyday life over there. So looking forward to it. So I suppose without further ado,
Further ado.
we'll bring him on.
Let's bring him on.
Let's bring him on. Okay, so this is the man, the legend himself, the one and only Paddy OBrien. Sorry, man, I'm actually having technical difficulties now, and I haven't had that in quite a while here, but
Hey,
we're sorted. Yeah, so here we go.
roll it there, Roisin.
Roll it there, Roisin. Here we go. Folks, all the way from Utah in the United States of America, we've got Paddy OBrien on. Paddy, welcome to the Irish Hunting Podcast, man.
Thanks, lads. Thanks for having
Welcome
me.
Paddy. Yeah, delighted to have you, pal.
Yeah.
We'll start off in true IHP form. First question, what's the weather like? And second question, what's the current time over there?
It's 1:43 p.m., so just after lunch. Sun's shining. I've seen 2 days of rain since April.
Oh, man.
Here.
Fucking hell, lad. That's class.
Everything's yellow.
Are you serious? Yeah. Look, I said, you were just talking briefly there before we come on. You were just saying, like, obviously you get temperature extremes over there. Like, it's full on.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Untethered and Wanderwise, where adventure has no age limit. We're your co-host, Heidi Brandis and Nikki Mahundro, and we're here to inspire and celebrate women over 45 who are embracing their independence and want to explore the world on their own terms.
Yeah, it's a little bit different to home. It's, like there's pretty defined seasons. Ireland just seems to be a wet season and a wetter season most of the time that I'm home.
Yeah.
Here, you got decent summer, 35 to 40 degrees Celsius, like in summertime. Most days you're definitely in the 30s in summer. Good, fall or autumn time, and spring's decent, bit wet, and then a solid winter and good bit of snow flying and on the ground. So, if you draw a late season tag over here, you got the weather to contend with too, and trying to get into a place is as hard as trying to pull an animal out of it.
Yeah, Jesus, yeah. That's nice. Anywhere like that's nice, when you do get the mix, because you can plan stuff, which you can't do here.
Oh yeah.
Nice to get winter and just summer and summer.
Oh yeah, jeez. Yeah, like my wife laughs about it because shortly after I moved over, I'm outside with the first little flurry of snow like a child running around in it, helping people get their car up a hill in their front wheel drive. It's not going anywhere, and I'm out there trying to help them push.
Yeah.
And everyone else is just, regular business day for them.
Yeah. Yeah, spot the paddy. Oh,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
literally.
Yeah, honest to God, yeah. Well, for those of you for our listeners that are not familiar, tell us a bit about yourself. Obviously, you're an Irishman. I think Kilkenny. Am I right in saying that? You're
Tipperary, I heard. No, not Tip. No.
What's that?
No. I can honestly, that soft spot, because I can see it out the back window of my parents' house. I'm that close. So
okay, so yeah.
Like looking across into Lebanon there from,
Oh, brilliant. So you're a Kilkenny man, and you made the love brought you to Utah. You were saying you're 8 years out there or something, did you mention?
Yeah. Just about 8 years now. My good wife's a local girl from here, so I'm only like in work now. I'm only about 4 miles from where she grew up, so it's
nice one.
It's nice. We got in-laws around us and everything, so it's great.
Oh, that's great.
What do you do over there, Paddy? What's the day gig?
I work in city government, so you can complain about. So I said to Brendan beforehand, you can complain about me ruining the place the same as the planners do back home. It's so do a little bit of that, and
at least you're doing it over there. You're not doing it over here, man. So
exactly, exactly.
Yeah. Very good. And come here, you're living in Kent. Did you? I know, obviously, you're on our podcast because you're a fairly well known, fairly esteemed. You've got a fair repertoire of hunting over there, which we're going to dive straight into now shortly. Hunting here, did you do much hunting when you were?
No,
No.
But shot bit of like clay skeet, but not
No.
nothing, no animal hunting when I grew up. But good bit of fishing and all of that, just in the local rivers and streams at home, and then off the rocks down Waterford area and everything. But so a lot of fishing growing up, but no hunting. Just my father did a bit of hunting when he was growing up and everything, but it's just not something that we really did as a family. But always kind of interested in it. And then I move over here to what's like the land of milk and honey for hunting. It's
the hunting mecca.
It's really accessible. The downside is if you don't grow up doing it, you have no idea where to start. So the good thing is buying a gun over here is a little bit easier than
back home.
Trying to get one back home. So it's that's step one in it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The access, I suppose, into hunting over there is the pathway is a little bit more accessible, and it's a bit more, say, conducive to the people like ourselves who came to it a little bit later in life. So it doesn't leave. Whereas over here, as you know, it's like you'd probably, I don't know, man. You'd probably get away with murder quicker than you'd get a license and a gun, So
I've always looked at it like if I ever try to go back home to do a hunt or anything, how I wouldn't even know where to start. Whereas here, I can guide people. I've been through the process myself. It's, I say guide people. I don't mean guide them on a hunt, but I mean like I can tell people how you get started. It's relatively easy. Like you do an online course, then you have to do a day course, show that you're proficient with a firearm, do a shooting test. It's like about 20 hours that you'd spend getting everything together, and then you have your hunter's ed and you have it for life, which is pretty good. And then it's recognized in, my hunter ed in Utah is recognized then in most other states. So it's by state rather than by like at a national level, like federally.
Yeah.
Gotcha, yeah. What you're saying is it makes sense over there, Paddy.
It does. They're not without their flaws and everything, but it's I see what you guys be putting out there as well, and reading all the stuff in the papers back home, and a lot of it is driven by politics. And here there's at least there's politics can't stay out of anything, so there's the influence of that, but it's really scientifically backed, and they've got biologists and a massive division of wildlife and natural resources with the state, and there's plenty of lads out there who'll tell you that they're the worst people, but I couldn't fault them. They manage, at least from my perspective, they manage animal herds and species diversity and everything across large game, small game, upland, fisheries, and there's so much opportunity out there. So, there's years where I didn't draw tags, but it didn't mean, for big game, but didn't mean I couldn't go back out and, try and go shoot some pheasants or do some waterfowl hunting, do a bit of hunting, just whatever I kind of feel like that's accessible to everyone, where you don't need to be in a lottery to draw a tag. And then, growing up doing a lot of fishing, the thing I couldn't wait to do over here, which is phenomenal and so much fun, is actually ice fishing. Completely different. So it's
talk us through a little bit of that, Paddy, because that's something that's kind of obviously unfamiliar to us over here.
It's it's literally like you drill a hole in the ice, you drop your line down, and essentially you do a bit of jigging through it, or you leave you bait a hook and just leave it there, and it's real simple. You're talking a 2 foot long rod, because you don't need a big
you're not casting
7 foot long rod. It's super simple. Drill a hole in the ice is the hardest part. You got to get yourself an auger. You got lads that have fancy $800 battery powered, lithium powered, like ones that will drill in silence. I'm cheap, hand auger, spin it through, and 6 or 8 inch hole, whatever size auger you have, and couple of blades on the end of it, and just turn it up and just drop something in. It's as simple as having a 5-gallon bucket with some of your stuff in it and turn it upside down to sit on. And then lads spend thousands on getting stuff together. Snowmobiles across the ice, big tents that they'll camp out in or just pop for the day, little buddy heaters that they use. They'll cook up out there for the day. And it's just, same as everything. you can go as far into it as your bank account will allow.
Yeah. I just laugh at that. Just picture it. Just sounds very weird when you say like pop up a tent and a heater all while you're on ice.
Yeah, but like, I've been out in places where you've got like a lad in a quad zips past you on the ice.
On the ice.
And I'm terrified of falling through the ice. I've fallen through it now, so it's kind of got it out of my system. It's terrifying,
Jeez.
but I'm a bit safer with it. But as soon as you hit 6 inches of thickness on the ice, it starts to support some serious weight.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you're talking ice quality as well. So when you drill your hole in the ice, you can see, is it real cloudy or is it clear? Tell you all the different kind of things, and you can get all nerdy about it.
Right.
But it's a blast, and I've got stuff over here. So now I have a little small, like 5 foot by 5 foot tent that myself and the kids will sit in, and you can fish in the storm, in a snowstorm or whatever, and nice and warm inside. But it's a little bit odd when you're sitting there, couple 100 yards off the shore, and you're starting to smell rashers cooking, like, because there's some lad out there frying up breakfast.
Brilliant. That sounds epic, man. It sounds, doesn't it? Like, what kind of fish would you be after there, Paddy?
It depends. It just depends on the water bodies around here. You can fish for, you got your trout areas, walleye, which I don't think never heard of back in Ireland. So it was kind of a shocker to me to see these things, but nice white fish. We've got some freshwater salmon in one of the big water bodies near me as well, which is pretty good kokanee salmon. They're a landlocked salmon variety, but you can fish for different perch, bluegill, all different species. Just depends on the water body.
And is it similar to here in terms of tags for the likes of salmon, or what way is it? What way does it work?
None of that. You buy a fishing license and off you go.
That's clear. I remember. I just thinking
it's year round as well, with the exception of the salmon during the spawning season. They shut down possession, so you might catch one as bycatch or whatever, but you got to release it. Can't keep it. Got to release it, and that's like mid-September to end of November for spawning season. But other than that, most stuff is open year round. All the water bodies are open. The only restrictions you have is going from something like some of the blue ribbon fisheries. It's artificial fly-in lure only. No power bait or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember. I was just saying there. I remember there's a movie. It's a real old movie. It's actually a great movie. Grumpy Old Men. You ever remember that movie?
I've heard of it, but I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah, and the two lads were the best of pals, and of course, like any good story, woman got in the way, but they used to spend all their spare time ice fishing. But they had like a little shed, kind of on whatever way it worked, and like they used to just sit there drinking cans of beer, man, and fishing. And I was just like that.
Yeah. There's a fair bit of that happens, and Utah's a bit different. It's you don't see anyone with the big permanent sheds or anything that they bring out. Our season's a little bit shorter in terms of just having good safe ice. And it can be a little bit unpredictable then too. But other states like Wisconsin and everything, you've got lads that have basically a caravan on skids, with a big hole drilled, like a big square hole drilled in the floor. And they're dragging that out with a side by side or a Jeep or something, leaving it out there for the whole winter, and they're camping in it and traveling back and forth from that.
That is deadly. Yeah.
And the wife you're going off working.
Yeah. And there's something I learned this week. A side by side is what we call a gator over here, I believe.
Like a UTV. They're freaking everywhere here. They're deadly.
Yeah. I've seen one. I think I seen one at a fishing show once, and it was all done up in camouflage and had gun racks and all. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, I actually have one now, and it's class. It makes all the difference, especially like when you like. I have a pretty, it's a truck, like or a Jeep, whatever we call them back home.
Yeah.
I'm starting to go yank now at this point.
I was going to say, man.
I forget the words of some of this.
I got my truck. Yeah.
And a pretty decent thing, like big V8 6.2 liter Chevy Silverado, and it's class, and it'll go up the wall if you can, but they call it Rocky Mountain pinstripes. So if you're close to the trees, you got a nice bit of pinstriping along the side of it. So the plastics on the side by side or UTV are a little bit easier to handle.
Yeah, honestly, yeah,
So
yeah.
we take that off road, and it's that they're class. They'll go wherever you want them to go.
Yeah, yeah. That's one thing that definitely separates from the States from here is the amount of public land. Do you know what I mean? You could literally go on your gate, your side by side for probably hours or days across public land and do it. We can't do
Oh
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Like I can go out the back, like out the back door. We're lucky where we live, where the fence line ends in the backyard. It's national forest land, and you're out into that, and then a little bit further, you're actually into a wilderness area. So
No.
it's
Wow.
no roads or trails in some of those areas. You can get to the edge of that, and then it's no vehicular access. You're on foot for some of it.
That's brilliant, man. Jeez.
Sounds epic.
Absolutely
You
class.
spoke there as well, but just about the tag system. I suppose obviously that's slightly different than over here. Talk us through that and what animals are considered like obviously tag animals, and how does that work? You mentioned
Yeah.
a draw or lottery style system.
Yeah, so it's it kind of differs state by state, but in Utah, you got a lot of big game animals that are on a tag system and a draw system. There's so much more interest and pressure for hunting, so they have to limit the amount because you have everyone hunting that wants to hunt. You could decimate the whole herd in 1 year.
Hmm.
That's if if everyone's able to get it. But essentially, you're limiting opportunity through a draw system. In Utah, it's kind of like a lot of the big games controlled by that, and you've got a general season and a limited entry season on your deer and your elk. You've got swans as well that you can draw a tag for, which never hunted swans. I've got friends that have hunted them a couple of years, and they think it's deadly. But also growing up back home, all
No.
I know is that you just don't shoot the swan.
Oh, well, I'd be the same, man. That's one thing I would draw the line there. No, they wouldn't shoot
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
But so there's that, and then there's other species that are a little bit more, limited as well, like greater sage grouse and everything that you're limited with hunting. But other than that, then there's other species like waterfowl. You got to get a federal duck stamp as well as having your hunting license. Hunting license is like less than 40 quid for the year with a combo fishing and hunting license, and then you get a federal duck stamp, which is 25 quid, and you're good to go on waterfowl. And there's daily limits. So Utah, it's a 7 bird bag limit for the day. And a certain amount that you can have in your possession then at any one time. So you can't have more than like a 3-day limit in your freezer.
Fair enough.
But that keep anyone going really. But it's pretty cool. It's a very different system back home. I like it. Some people would probably hate it. On
I
the
think
big
it's common
stuff.
sense, isn't it? It's really.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's just it because you're talking about there like 7 duck should be plenty for anyone. If you've this thing of going out and getting 40, 50, 60 duck, it's not really good for anyone,
No.
So
Yeah, like you're trying to manage not only quality of hunting, but you're trying to manage species like sustainability too through it. So it's like I think it's really scientifically backed, rather than trying to limit it too much because it's something that some people don't like. It's I think it's done really well here. I like it, and as I said, some people probably hate it, but the tag system then on the big game, it's one tag per year, kind of per animal. So, and Brendan and I were talking before we started as well. It's like they're shorter seasons too.
Yeah, I
kind of 2 weeks for your rifle hunt, 2 weeks for muzzleloader, and kind of about 3 to 4 weeks depending on your area for archery.
Jesus, man, yeah. You wouldn't want to be delaying like we do.
No.
We've got what have we now? We've 8 months
we're really hunting more than we're not.
Yeah, we are, yeah. We've 8 months of deer hunting here, so we can afford to kind of go, the weather's not right or this, that, and other will take a couple of weeks. But yeah, out there it's like
is that 8 months then because you've just got such a volume of animals that you're trying to you need longer to control them, or because you don't have the number of people?
No, I'd say it's probably the kind
combination of both,
hand in hand in certain ways. But yeah, obviously it was. So we were able to hunt from 1st September till the end of February. Now we can hunt from the 1st of August till the end of April. so they've extended it, because there's been a lot of talk lately in Ireland about deer populations and damage to forestry, tillage, farmland, as well as a lot of accidents on the roads now.
Oh yeah.
As of them, but of course, as what a lot of things in Ireland, it's kind of arseways. They didn't invest any money. They didn't do a proper census on them, or to just broaden it, like extend it. There's too many deer, but like anywhere, there is certainly areas of Ireland that have too many deer.
Yeah, and you got to try to recruit the people then to hunt them as well, because if it's the same small group of people, it's hard to do. Like over here, you have the depredation issue of animals destroying crops, and you've got your hay baled and stacked in your barn, and the animal, elk are just crowding the field and they're just coming back and forth eating that all day on you.
Mm-hmm.
So they actually issue depredation tags to manage that, and different controlled hunts or landowner tags.
Mm-hmm.
So like if that's an issue, it'd be ideal back home if you can give the landowner a bunch of tags. Here you go. This is automatic permission essentially to hunt my land.
Mm-hmm.
You can, you don't want to commercialize it too much in some ways, probably by buying it, because over here, if you got big, trophy class bull elk, there's lads that are charging trespass fees that's freaking exorbitant. So there's there's the downside to that then too.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think probably for everyone that's listening in over your neck of the water, to explain our side, it's probably like the agencies that are set up for hunting over there seem to, anyway, they're not anti-hunting, whereas
they're all hunters and fishermen themselves, which is ideal.
Mm-hmm.
They get that perspective.
Yeah, exactly. Over here, it's controlled by people who really aren't in favor of hunting. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, it's like we're waiting on a guy who's completely anti-hunting to hand out bird derogations and stuff, and he's handing them out like a day after. Like say if you've called birds, magpies, and grey crows, he's kind of begrudgingly giving out the derogation to hunt them again next year or this season, like 2 and 3 days. So you're letting out all your call birds, so it's this kind of stuff. It's not backed by any real science, because they're cherry picking the data that kind of suits their narrative. It's very political backed, whereas
you're managing it by emotion rather than by science, and
exactly.
That's a recipe for disaster. If the science doesn't back up what would benefit us, well, that's then science comes in handy.
Yeah.
But, it's just an unfortunate way of it. If it was just transparent and an objective side to it, of like, look, we're going to let the science manage the system, and go with it that way, there might be a bit more of a benefit to it, of like, you're taking care of the animals. They've got, they have what they need. They have one bad day if someone's hunting them.
Mm-hmm.
They're free. They have one bad day and then they feed a family for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Just what Andy's saying there is very true. You've done that twice now this year, where they changed the bird derogation. Was it 2 days, I would say, before the season started? Then the same thing with the deer last year. I think, was it the day before the season ended? They said we're extending it. And even at that, half lads had like hung up the boots and stuff, and then to go, am I hearing this right? Are we getting an extension, or what's going on? It was it's just so minimal effort put into it. It's just
they don't really have anything like that here, with the exception of like a black bear hunt, where you've got like your regular seasons and then they have a harvest objective, and it's basically, this is the start of the season, this is the end of the season, this is how many they'll divide your area up into units. So like the area that I'm in is unit A, and they draw a boundary around it. You check the map, you know where you're hunting. That's and they say, okay, we need 6 black bear killed off of this unit or harvested off of this unit within this date. But you have to report it within 48 hours of actually harvesting it, and then they give a permanent tag on the pelt. You do what you want with the meat, generally like eat, butcher the meat and pop it in the freezer or whatever and get it processed. But when you hit the 6, that's the season done. You could hit the 6 5 days in, or you mightn't hit the 6 for the entire thing, but the deadline's the deadline, you're done.
That's it. Yeah.
Because you know what you're working with then. I think it's unfair, no one likes the finish line to be changed on them without knowing it's going to be. If you're checking the schedule every day before you go out, of like, okay, season closed yesterday because they got the 6.
Yeah. And then over here again, like the biggest obviously problem species over here is probably, when I say problem, don't like calling deer a problem. It's beautiful to see. We'll never get sick of seeing them. But the sika is the biggest, probably populated animal over here, and obviously, there's talk of it obviously being non-native and so on, even though it's over here, probably a couple of generations now at this stage. But instead of probably targeting maybe the problem areas and the problem species, they just extended everything. So now you've encompassed red deer, fallow into that whole thing, which it's not, to me anyway, it seemed very kind of Irish half-assed. You know what I mean?
I know how it goes. They manage it differently here as well. Like you've got different seasons per species, and then you can have different seasons per unit too. So like you're saying if they're a problem in a certain area, like if sika are a problem in Wicklow area, then you've got a longer season there, and you've got a higher quota you need to pull off. But rather than sika somewhere that the population's only a small percentage of what you've got.
Exactly.
That's the problem. It's instead of painting it all with the one brush, this is the same for everywhere. You decimate the opportunity and herd in one area, and you don't get it enough in the other area to manage it.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's what we're saying. It's typical. The people that make decisions, first of all, haven't got a clue, really. They've never been subjected to it. And then it's the easy fix. They're just the easy fix, right? There's farmers giving out fuck. There's too many deer. What will you right? You can shoot them now for there's no thought process going into it. Typical Irish, they'll fucking close the gate when the horse is gone. Do you know what I mean? Years down the line, like beautiful red deer population is decimated. How do you do this? Oh, no one's allowed to hunt deer anymore. And you're going, it's a bit late for that.
I get culturally it's a little bit different probably as well. I before we jumped on, I was going through the Facebook, and I don't go onto Facebook that often. I just want to go on to look at basically the marketplace if I want to buy stuff. But I went on and I looked and holy crap, the aunties that came on the post that you guys had about for my one, I was like, oh well, I guess I'm welcome back home.
There's a few that
it's different here. You've got more people for hunting than you got against it because it's ingrained in the culture.
Yes,
and I think we've lost that from Ireland.
We have.
It's too easy to go get your meat.
There's a general understanding as well, Paddy. Like this is common sense. Like all animals now, we live alongside them, so there has to be management. Otherwise, nobody survives. Either we keep decimating habitat, and there's no management whatsoever. We are here now. There's 6.5 million or whatever it is in Ireland, so we're not going to start. Eradicating humans, so we're here to stay. So we have to, and that's what they forget. The aunties just you've seen them there, and I replied to some of them. That's me.
I know. I got a good laugh out of some of you.
Because but these no names and all this kind of nonsense, and more often than not we don't. But then every now and again you get a bottle of wine, you just say, look.
You lubricate the old brain there, and
we
don't do fucking anything.
I dumb down, get drunk and start kicking back.
I to be honest, even though it's Anthony knows this. Obviously, Anthony, in fairness to him, he looks after the Facebook and social media. And the more than yourself, I'm not one for Facebook bar on marketplace, but I do I'll see such an, and I nearly know by the name. I nearly know about the name of the person, and that's a terrible thing to say, like generally. But I will nearly know because it's a made-up fucking name on a faceless, on a faceless fucking profile. There's too big cowards to actually come out and show who they are and what they actually stand up for. So when I see an unusual name, I go in and go, this is.
Yeah, like I honestly, you know what? They're entitled to their opinion. Same way I'm entitled to live my life the way I want, so long as it doesn't harm anyone in terms of doing anything illegal. Their ethics and my ethics are different, same as our morals are different. My wife was a vegetarian for 17 years.
No way, man.
And didn't agree with industrial agriculture that we have in the US, like the meat processing industry. And I don't blame her. The meat's crap if you buy it in the grocery store. You don't have the butcher like you can walk down Main Street at home, go in and get some. But at the same time, I go hunt my season last year, I killed a cow elk. We're still eating that thing. I had 140 pounds of boneless meat that came off that animal. That's one animal. You go into a butcher store, you buy something off the shelf in SuperValu or wherever you want to buy something.
Yeah.
You get a couple steaks, you get a roast beef, you buy a couple sausages and a few rashers. That could be 5 or 6 different animals that you're getting all that stuff off of. Mine's one animal. I know exactly where it came from. I know how it was treated. I ended its life as quickly as possible and as ethically as I could. And I harvested everything off of it as best I could. Organs, everything. The only thing I couldn't take, I blasted the thing in the heart. The heart was shot. No taking that out of it. But I understand it's hard to take a life, animal or whatever. But if I want to eat meat, I believe that's what I have to do as a consumer of that. I can't in good faith go into a shop and buy something and have someone else do the hard work on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, we would be very. You've probably listened to us rant and rave. We understand. Even I've mates who are vegetarians. Some for because they don't like the idea of meat, which I completely understand and I respect. Others for environmental reasons, and we would debate that. But most of my friends would definitely agree that regardless, if you're consuming, unless you're growing everything in your back garden yourself, if you're consuming vegetables or you're consuming meat, a life is lost somewhere.
Yeah, something harms some organism in the large scale producing.
Yeah, so
and that's the thing. I said my wife's been a vegetarian for 17 years. We started hunting. She's working on her hunter education this year, wants to come hunting with me. She eats the elk, because she knows exactly where it comes from. There is no pesticide or fertilizers used in any of it. That is organic meat off the side of, actually just down in a valley in the Rocky Mountains, harvested at about 8,000 feet. I know exactly where it came from. I knew what it was doing up to the moment that I harvested it. And I had to have a hard couple of moments of, understanding I took a life, but now I'm going to feed my family for the year off of this.
Absolutely. We're singing off the same hymn sheet. Just two points I want to pick up on there that I thought was funny. Just when Anthony was explaining, kind of there's sort of two. You could say there's two main reasons why people become vegetarians. It's whether they don't believe in the killing of animals, or because they don't believe in the impact of farming. But no one's ever vegetarian because they don't like the taste.
Yeah.
No one's ever said, why are you a vegetarian? I just don't like the taste of meat. No, that's not a thing. But just on that, I would like to say, and we have spoke about before in a couple of podcasts, I would absolutely love somebody to do a carbon footprint calculation on you taking a year's worth of meat from the supermarket versus a year's worth of meat that you've hunted yourself. Do you know? We were saying it before, from like the time the animal is brought to the factory and processed, and then from the factory to the packing and the packing supermarket and so on and so forth. But we're missing a whole. That's only the last little bit of it.
Oh yeah,
it's
like, I actually did something similar to it in college. I went to UCC, geography student down there, and I took a food geography class, and one of the classes was, we need you to create a three-course meal, and we want you to buy as many of the fresh ingredients as you can, look at manufacturing locations, everything, catch locations if you're buying fish or whatever, and put together a map and mileage calculation of how much, how many people's hands did it pass through, how much mileage it traveled and everything.
Yeah.
And man, even if I bought local, just in County Cork stuff, which that was my goal, was to buy, basically create a meal from County Cork. It was still a ridiculous mileage on it.
Yeah.
Mine was like by foot, the carbon, all right, carbon dioxide for me, wheezing and puffing, trying to come up a hill with, a bunch of elk on your back. They're a big animal. They're a 400+ pound animal.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I put my fair share of carbon dioxide in there. I was going to be doing it anyway, in some extent, but it's I knew exactly where it came from. There was no machines, nothing involved with that animal before it got to the ground, and I took it, got it back to camp, loaded it up, and I took it to a local processor because it was actually early in the season, so it was quite hot, and I had nowhere to hang it and keep it cool. So the meat would have spoiled. So I brought it to a local butcher, and they butchered it, and I had it back within a couple of days.
Yeah. I just love like you know the way you do the carb calculation. I would love a comprehensive one done, and just to have it there to go.
Funny enough, I actually went in. This is last week. I went down to Barna Super Value. You just mentioned it there, and just sparked. I bought my first beef in about 2 years last week.
No way.
Ribeye steaks. It was and I nearly had a heart attack when I came out. I think because we've a clatter of kids, and each one of them will eat a steak now, and I said, I'll go down and get a nice steak, and it was a special on the thing, 33% off ribeyes or something, and so I came out, and I think I spent 50 quid on 5 or 6 ribeyes, I think, and I nearly, sir, man, there's in one hand, I was there. I've a truckload of venison at home. We were after running out of it down and go. We've only small freezers, so I could only bring down small bits. But we've been using it up, and I said, I just fancied a steak with barbecue weather, and so now it was lovely. Don't get me wrong, lovely. But yeah, just that did cross my mind. I've a lovely lump of venison at home, harvested naturally and all that kind of stuff, and not that I've anything against, because we understand as well. Not everyone can hunt. Not everyone can process the meat.
No, it's not. It's not attainable to everyone. Like I have friends that live in apartments in the middle of the city. They don't have the ability to have, the set. Some of them will still hunt, but like they don't have the ability to bring an animal back home and hang it up in the shed or in the garage or whatever, and process it there. There's different things, but opportunities there and different. Like if you don't want to have, if you can't hunt, you can still buy locally reared and harvested and produced like beef. Same with your chickens and all of that. This whole thing of not knowing where your meat comes from is a huge epidemic that we have of causing major problems. If people are interested in their health and you want to know where your food comes from, you should have the ability to know where it comes from. The best way to do that is to be the person who's involved in harvesting that yourself.
Process.
And you can supplement it. You don't have to have a deer or an elk or whatever. You can have a couple ducks or a couple pheasants in the freezer as well. Supplement your diet initially with some stuff like that if you're able to. It's a huge change.
Yeah. I was just something that actually, which we'll move on to now in terms of the trapping. Obviously, is and you have a whole different set of species over your neck of the woods. Talk us through some of that. But first, how did you start trapping, and then talk us through some of the species that you get over there.
So I think we've got a variety of different things. Like you can trap raccoon, coyotes. There's no specific season for them. They're considered to be varmints. Even coyotes, they're a major challenge. They'll take sheep from farmers and everything. There's a huge population of them that the state struggles to control. So there's actually a bounty on them for 50 quid a head. So you trap one, or you just go out and shoot one. You don't have to trap them. You can go out, and there's plenty of videos of lads on YouTube hunting at night with the infrared, and they're calling them in, and they'll just start hammering animals, and they'll get a good few animals in a night. I trap coyotes on our property. You got 5.5 acres right up to the bottom of the foothills of the Rockies. It's they come through our backyard. I've had mountain lions and bobcats in the backyard. I got a couple of kids at home. They've I see it's a little bit of a balance between them. You're not harming my stuff, I won't harm you type of thing. But man, they decimated my flock of turkeys a couple of years ago. They killed them all right the weekend before Thanksgiving when we were planning on butchering them.
Yeah, man.
So I had to go buy a turkey in the shop, or we were going to have vegetarian Thanksgiving.
Sorry,
with the chickens. Just before, what was it? Probably back in March, I think. Had 98 chickens outside in a pen.
Yeah.
Come out one morning, 2 chickens running around outside of the pen. and then I had 74 of them, I think, that were dead just in the pen, and the rest of them were gone missing. And I saw I had 4 on the wire of the thing, and it was, it was big cat for.
No way, man.
So I feel like it's a not revenge, but it's like, we're playing the game with one another to some extent, and it's part of the management of it all. There's no season for mountain lions in Utah anymore. It's a spot and kill situation for them. The state had taken that restriction away. If you see a mountain lion, you can shoot it.
That made them over
the process afterwards of tagging it and everything, but you can do that all year round. There's different things then, like beaver, that are there's a specific season for beaver and muskrat and everything for trapping them. Just different fur bearer animals, but coyotes and raccoons, I'm able to hunt them all, or trap them all year round, or hunt them as well, and they tend to hang around the farm, or up at the spring just near where we live and everything, and it's pretty cool. You're out the back and you hear the fire engine coming up the road with the sirens blaring, and next thing they're howling at the thing. Kind of makes the hair stand on the back of your neck. But I only got into trapping by it was a skill I didn't know, and I was like, it'd be pretty cool to try it. You go buy a coil spring foothold trap that you can put on an animal, in the local hardware shop, or you can buy them off of specialty trapping places, like 10 quid for one. So I said I'd try it, send 24 inches of rebar down into the ground. I've had them pull it out, which is ridiculous to think a 2 foot of rebar being pulled out of the ground by one of these animals, and everything. But they're smart animals. There's complete respect for them. Like they're scavengers, and they will survive when nothing else can survive. I learned how to do it off of YouTube and reading books.
No way.
Setting traps, and man, I set so many sets. I had so many sets done for it, and I was getting nothing. Like, it's not like you set a trap and next thing everything just walks into it. Like, they can, if you don't take precautions and wear gloves and use proper baits or scents, they'll smell that humans been there, and you put on fresh jeans out of the washing or out of the dryer. You got fabric, good fabric smell off of it. They're not near your stuff.
Are you serious? Yeah. And then
obviously, when I got my first one, it was the biggest victory for me. I was like months without anything, and I was like, so it's not like you just set one and all of a sudden you're killing animals because it's so easy and they're so easy to get. Man, they make a fool of you. It's not like you're out there just getting everything every time you set a trap.
Yeah.
And when you catch one in spring trap, do you go up then and dispatch with a rifle or what?
It depends. There's I use a rifle, quick, simple. Animal doesn't deal with anything, and you can. Some people use choke poles. I'm a bit like, that feels a bit cruel to me. But to each their own. I'm not going to judge someone for doing that. Whatever they feel is their best way to do it. Some people do this as a career, as a side generating business. It's varmint trapping to manage this issue on certain properties, and they sell that fur then to the market. Mm-hmm. People buy so much stuff that they don't realize that has coyote pelt in it. There's jackets you get that have that fur trim. I think it's a Canadian company that makes it. They buy so much of that high quality stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I skin the animal, tan the hide myself. I just use them for like blanket coverings or whatever, and for decoration. And I take the bottom jaw off and the scalp with the 2 ears, and then send that into the state. And they use that. They give you a bounty payment on it, but then they also track, you got to geo shoot your location of where you trap it and kill it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to give those 2 samples in, and then they do testing on it to find out genetic sampling and locations of where the different animals are. It all leads back into a wider system.
That's I suppose that's
there's that misconception as well about these traps that like you're hurting animals and everything. Yeah, like you can sometimes. It's an unfortunate part of it. I can set one of those traps and put my hand down in the thing, and it locks on your joint. That's the thing. It holds you in there. There's no claws on the thing. It's got a space between it. It's meant to hold the animal there. It's not meant to like break its leg or anything like that. It's a complete misconception. Now, if you get a big trap that's meant for a wolf or a bear, I'm probably not putting my hand in that. They're a bigger animal than me. That would hurt me. It may not hurt them.
Okay.
But there's not these claws like you see in the cartoons that are basically chopping the leg off or anything. It's you hold the animal there.
Yes. And it's a stupid question. Foxes, have you got foxes up there at all?
I've haven't seen a single one of them here. My wife's seen them around the area. Like she grew up in the area and she's seen them, but no, I can look out window of my parents' house back home out into the field, and I can see them in the morning and in the evening and everything.
Yeah,
I have never seen a fox here in the few years I've been here.
That is mad. And
but I could go out and I could see a coyote now this evening.
So would it be similar numbers? Would you say to foxes back here? Like, did you literally?
Oh, I would. Depending on the area, I would think there's probably more coyotes than foxes. More coyotes here than foxes in Ireland.
Jesus, man, that's a lot, isn't it? We saw a couple in Hungary, and more important, seeing them, we heard them, and that's just.
And they make the hair stand on the back of your neck.
God, man, it's like mythical. It's absolutely class.
That's one of your dreams, isn't it, Brady, to nab one of them? So
it is, man. It is. Yeah, definitely. I would just love to get a coyote. I don't know what it is or what's ingrained in me or why, or maybe I seen it when I was,
It's a predator. Yeah, it's a man versus predator thing. I feel like, at least for me, it's it's kind of kind of different. Like the fox can still do a bit of damage.
Yeah,
coyote's quite a bit bigger than the fox, man. You got one of those things snarling at you and is all coiled up and ready to charge you. It's absolutely to want to defend.
Absolutely. And mountain lions, I've heard a couple of times on different podcasts, other ones, and I think Joe Rogan actually spoke with one, and Steve Vernella, like they're big, like they're
like they're a big animal. They will do damage to a man, and when we get notification in the area that like there's a mountain lion been spotted in someone's backyard or whatever, the text will go out to a few of the people, and we'll all know about it. You bring the kids in. It's one of those situations. There could be a mountain lion out the back. You don't see it, but it sees you. It will stalk you. It's not a.
What artillery are you running then, Paddy? What are you shooting?
They're a shy animal too.
Yes. Yeah.
If they want to be left alone, they will. Sorry, what was that?
So what artillery? What? Speaking of rifles, what are you shooting with? What's that?
I have a little bit of an arsenal.
This is where we get jealous. This is where we get jealous.
I depending on what I need, I've got a basic bow, like basic compound bow for hunting. I don't have the ability to go spend $1,500-$1,600 on a top of the range, bow, but I got a Fred Bear Archery. I got a bow from them. It's budget, bottom of the line, first compound bow I ever bought. I still use it. Shoots 310 feet per second with a pretty sizable broadhead on the thing. It's capable of taking down big game animal like an elk or a deer relatively easily, provided you get close enough. Mm-hmm. And then muzzleloader, I've just got a Thompson Center Impact for muzzleloader season. That's 50 caliber inline muzzleloader. Substantial thing, probably a 600-700 yard capability on that one. Haven't taken it out that far, but got a buddy that has one very similar to it, and he's constant 700 yard shot with that. Just on range stuff. I'm not going to take that far of a shot maybe on an animal. Shotgun wise, I have a Turkish shotgun from TriStar, the TriStar Raptor 20 gauge. The 12 is a bit much for my delicate shoulders. And then a couple handguns. I don't go into the backcountry unless I've got some sort of personal weapon on me. People are weird, and then there's animals too. So I got 2 9mm pistols. I don't need anything ultra huge like I would if you were in Alaska or whatever. So 9mm I feel is sufficient. So I got a Glock 17 and that I put together myself. and a Taurus G2C in 9mm as well. And then on the rifles, I've got a Savage 64F, just in 22 long rifle. And then I've got a Remington 783 in 308. I got a Howa 1500 and 6.5 Creedmoor, and I've got a Bergara B14 in 300 PRC.
Man, you have to read this off a list. It's that long. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's a bit. It's a bit like I'll pull out the scroll and
Are you sure you didn't forget anything there now?
I'm trying to go through all the like each of the little racks in the safe at home and see what's there.
Fuck's sake!
He actually has both of our rifles as well, which is mad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forget you. Yeah. And yeah, and you know they're I think they're both a great gun.
Yeah.
And my problem is I used a friend's gun about a year and a half ago, and in the 300 PRC.
Oh yeah.
And I fell in love with it. The worst thing ever you can do is borrow a friend's gun.
Yeah.
So it was a Gunworks in 300 PRC, and I'm like, I can't drop Gunworks money on something. So Bergara is a sub MOA guarantee, you know, and then decent quality glass. I love Vortex. Just they've got a no BS type of warranty. If it's not working, they'll replace it.
What Vortex are you running on that, Paddy?
Vortex Venoms, the 5 to 25 with the 56mm objective in first focal plane.
Very good.
On pretty much all that. It's not the top end scope. It's like pretty budget actually. It's a $450 scope, but it's
probably about 1,500 over here. But
but it's that. Yeah, but you know, it works good. Works for what I need. It's great. I've shot out just beyond 1,000 yards with the thing. It's crisp glass for what you're paying for, and it's it's not your typical rifle hunting scope. It's pretty bulky, but also I feel like there's a benefit to that too, because you got that added bulk to it. It's durable.
What do you use the 6.5, the Creedmoor? What would you use that for?
That's good. That's good for deer. I shot a Texas doll ram with it last year, just before Christmas. Like double lung shot on that thing, and took 2 steps, looked around, and it's gone. Ammo makes all the difference. Then too, I reload a lot of my own ammo at home, so I have a reloading press. I can go down to Cabela's, Bass Pro, Sportsman's Warehouse, any of those outdoor type shops, and buy primers. I've got my spent cartridges already, so I just pop the old primer out, clean it, and then buy a little jug of powder and new bullets, and I can seat them to the specs that I want. Try out different powder volumes for having fun at the range. But looking at like what you can buy in the store, there's some top notch like factory lows that you can get, and I love the Hornady Precision Hunter.
Yeah,
the 143 ELDX for the 6.5 Creedmoor, and then the 212 ELDX for the 300 PRC you can't fault them.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And with the how have you the Superlight? Have you got the M's?
No, I just have the Hogue stock, the M1500 Hogue stock on it. Basic kind of, like, I guess I don't know what the price would be for one at home, but it was I think like $600 here for the rifle.
It'd probably be thereabouts here. Maybe I don't know, maybe 800-900 here. I suppose thereabouts. I suppose. Yeah.
And it's a complete different system. I boggled my mind going into the shop. I'll have that. Okay, here's my concealed. It's different. They'll run a background check on you if you don't have a concealed carry permit. I give them my concealed carry permit. They just put it in their system. They give me the gun, and have the gun in about 15-20 minutes, and I'm on my way.
That's brilliant, man. I love that. That's class. That is deadly.
You started off the show here, and we were slightly jealous. We're fucking we're getting worse by the minute here.
Sorry, lads.
Yeah, I know. It's a dream, dude. It's a dream. Listen, Paddy.
Yeah, well, no, offers there. If you ever want to try hunt something in Utah, let me know, and
You're going to have two.
We'll be there on Saturday.
Right in time for archery season.
Yeah, honest to God, yeah. They'd be fucking safe enough with us with two bow and arrows anyway, that's for sure.
Oh man, it's a skill. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a whole different.
There's guys out there I look at and freaking, man crush it is the only way to do it. Like you got Cam Haynes, John Dudley guys, and they're able to hit what they want to hit at 100 yards, and I'm here trying to hit my 24-inch by 24-inch bag at 60.
Yeah.
But now at the same time they've
couple of grand
they've spent more time firing arrows than I've been alive, it seems like. So
absolutely, yeah. And Cam Haynes is a freak of nature. He's just probably one of those people, if he puts his mind to anything, he'll just do it.
It's discipline. I appreciate the bit of motivation I get from watching those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Little man crush. Paddy, we're after holding up enough of your time.
Good guys.
I say we're coming over with the whiskey. You just get the bed ready. We'll bring the whiskey and we'll go out and we'll try and hit something. All right.
Yeah. Bring you over. I'll bring you. And else, if you want some like Barry's tea bags or like black pudding or something like that, we can manage.
Potato crisps.
Yeah, I tried to get the black pudding over here before. You want to be careful with that one. You'll get a cavity search.
Yes. Fucking classic. Paddy, thanks.
You're a gentleman, dude.
Yeah, thanks very much, lads.
Really appreciate it. And where can people get you? Have you got your Instagram handles or stuff, or your?
Yeah, I got an Instagram. I'm not as active on it as I'd love to be, but I try and put some stuff up if I'm able. So it's just simple Paddy Fast.
Paddy Fast.
And that's got what I do on it. I try to be a bit more active as I get to season time, and I'm hopeful this year as well I can do a little bit of video on when I'm out doing some hunts and throw some short videos together.
We'd love to see it.
We look forward to it, man. We look forward to it.
Whoever wants to follow me, go ahead. I'll follow back.
Sounds like a plan. Paddy Fast, you heard it here first. Paddy, if you're heading out for the season, enjoy, man, and best luck, and most importantly, keep us updated, won't you?
Yeah, will do, guys. Thanks.
Thanks.
Cheers,
Paddy. Bye-bye, man. Bye-bye.